This is this is a ceramics tool. It's got a straight edge with a little bit of tooth on it, so it abrades the color just a little bit, and it helped me soften that edge back there, which is hard for you to see from in the back. But and now this is a pretty bright light. An attractive bright light, and it has a little bit of warmth to it. It's not white. I don't, if I'm trying to create light in a picture, I choose a pigment that's toward sunlight from the pigment I have. So, like this is a purple rug of some sort, purple throw, and the sunlight is rosier than the shadow. You would imagine that. So the light part of the purple, I don't just add white to purple, because that gets a little chalky. I add white, but I also move up into the next color, going around the color wheel into the sunlit colors. So the next color up from purple is rose. So to add light to lit purple, I would use rose and white. Sometimes, not all the time. But now I'm going to put on some whites, and this light is so strong, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. I already had it out, just to warm it up a little bit. And I might have to do this a couple of times. Or not, I'm not sure yet. And this is juicy, so it might run, which I would like if it did. And then this white tablecloth is folded in front of that. You know, I thought it would run, but it really didn't. Okay. There it goes. And I have some white on that paper plate. It's a little cooler white, though. It's a little whiter white as well. Now I've got, oh dear, that's going to take me a while to get that color covered. See, I had whatever color this was as an underpainting in that area. So I might have to wait for that to dry and hit it again. Although I'm not too unhappy with that. And I've got some white anise flowers up here. Ooh, a little bit of warmth in that white, though. That's too chalky. got a warm brick tone on that forward base. So I'm just going to make a guess that maybe this is a pomegranate Quinn Red watercolor by Cheap Joe, was a gift, a freebie. And so I'm going to pick up some of that and some of this yellow ochre and a little bit of white. I'm guessing at the proportions. They're not exactly right. But I like a surprise.
No, you just squirted something on there. Is that white?
That was white, yeah.
A watercolor white?
No, it was a wash, a white wash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Why do you have such a big tube of white?
Because I use quite a lot of it.
What brand is it?
Pebeo, it's a student grade. And the one problem with it is that you can't put it on thick, or it's a sort of a somewhat cheap, but get a little other color in there. I use other gouache. I use Holbein and Da Vinci gouache, but I use so much white that I get this big tube. Purple. I'm moved now into purple, red, and white to get this a little better. It's kind of a brown. And this green is flavoring it. It's coming through. And then I have a little. Well, this is you should have this in Minnesota. It's to get the ice off your windshield. But it's got a little serrated edge on it. So I sometimes use that to add a sense of roundness to my objects.
Whenever, between now and 5 minutes, if you make a little duration,
Okay.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Whatever,
All right.
whatever's your time.
Okay. All right. So I'm not unhappy with that color.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not good. And now I'm going to paint the sunlight on the compote, and so I'm going to add a little. I've been working with yellow ochre and burnt umber and a little purple here for the body, but now to add the sunlight, I'm going to move into a brighter, lighter tone along with white, which will be yellow, and this happens to be gouache. And I do use yellow gouache to lay on top of something. Yellow watercolor will not lighten what's underneath it. It might tone it some nicely, but
You have to be careful about letting gouache dry on your brush.
no.
Is the brush you're using stiffer than a watercolor brush normally?
I think so. This is a skipper by Cheap Joe. And somebody told me, what's the name of the guy that uses this?
Skip Lawrence.
It's hog bristle.
Hog bristle.
It's a watercolor brush. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a watercolor brush.
Yeah.
All right, this would be a good time for a intermission.
You're not gonna paint?
Not for t-shirts, it's for fine art. Anyway, he just puts it in the press and it smooths out fine. It's not been an issue. Now, also, this is not soaked. This paper is not pre-soaked. So that's part of it. And while I do use water, I don't use gobs of water. So I hope that answers that question. The other question was, what are some of the things that you think about in setting up a still life? So I look for good radiant color. I like to see strong light and shadow. And I don't think always, but I often have white in the setup because it's reflective. And I would like, when possible, to have my elements like here's your tabletop. I like to have elements setting on different levels. Cezanne did this. So I have little boxes. And sometimes I'll turn a bowl over and then put a plate on it. Things like that, so that the objects themselves are at different levels. Now that's not a guideline or a rule or anything like that. It's just I happen to like that. And of course my objects should be of different heights where they hit on the paper. And that is really cool. Yeah, to do that. Really nice. That's pretty enough to paint. That's a nice. It's nice.
You want to paint it?
Yeah. And of course, some color opposition. I've got the yellow green, the soft yellow green Thanksgiving table cloth, and then I put that strong purple thing behind it. So contrasting elements, light, dark, color opposites, some different heights down at the base as well as at the top. Those are some things that I think about, and of course, different shapes. Any other questions? I'm going to lay in the tablecloth now. I think. It's not bad. And I'm going to pick up white gouache, yellow gouache, yellow-green gouache. And I've got roller marks here in this red, which is, it's hard to deal with that. But I like having to deal with it. It's all right. It's a guess on the proportions of color to color here. What's going on here? Ooh. Okay. See, that's mixing now with that rose, and I can't get rid of it until it dries. And I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of it tonight. I don't know if it'll dry. Okay, and now I'm going to put some shadow in on the whites. And I'm going to use white and Viridian, which is a watercolor in this case, and some of that rose. Well, I don't have that. Let's see. I will use, what will I use? Put out some more rose.
So you're using a complement?
Yeah, I'm making a gray with Viridian and rose. And white. I've already got yellow-green there, so. I don't think that's dark enough. And it's a little too icy cool. I'll mix a little yellow ochre in with that now. I try to mix just two colors, but if I can't quite get it, I will add a third. Now, if I mess up and don't get it now, I've got rose and Viridian. I'm going to touch it. It's just too icy and purpley. So I'm going to touch a little yellow ochre in there and see how this goes now. It's better. Now I haven't mixed them carefully on my brush. I've just got them there. You see, so you'll see all those colors in here. That works. Do it again. And you really need to finish off the base. One way to treat your edges is to not paint to the edge of your contour. And that leaves a soft edge, which is nice. It helps your bases and things to curl around. But I think I'm going to bring that base down to the, at least to the drape here. I think that will be interesting if I do that. Okay. And now I need to ground that tablecloth so it's not floating. So I will use, I just want it dark, I will use, happens to be burnt umber and a little yellow-green. That's a nice warm brownish color now, kind of get in here with. And I've got a bit of a cast shadow here. So what I think I'll do is come in with light. I'll try and leave that yellow green that I have down